and I'm looking for a cave that I found, and I didn't have a sidearm when I was here before.
For nearly a decade, the mysterious disappearance of Kenny Veach has haunted online sleuths, hikers, conspiracy theorists, and truth seekers alike. It's the kind of case that'll keep you up all night. An experienced hiker who claimed to find a bizarre, vibrating M-shaped cave in the Nevada desert vanishes without a trace, days after vowing to return and document it. The story feels like something out of a sci-fi thriller, but it's very real. Now, with years of search efforts, testimony from loved ones, and an accumulation of facts, the Kenny Veach cave mystery may have finally been solved. And it's not pretty. Let's start from the beginning. The disappearance. On November 10, 2014, 47-year-old Kenny Veach set out on a solo hike into the Sheep Mountains of Nevada, a remote and rugged region bordering the Mojave Desert. Veach, a seasoned hiker and Las Vegas resident, was well known in local outdoor communities and among YouTube viewers for his solo desert explorations. Posting under the username SnakeBitMG, he had developed a small but loyal following for his adventurous hikes into the unforgiving terrain surrounding the Nevada Test and Training Range. His final journey, however, was not just another hike. Veach was on a determined mission to locate what he had previously described as the mysterious M Cave. Veach's chosen hiking location, the Sheep Mountains, sits northwest of Las Vegas, Nevada, and is part of the Desert National Wildlife Refuge. The area includes steep canyons, jagged ridges, and dry washes, and its remoteness has long made it attractive to seasoned hikers seeking solitude and a challenge. Of course, he was no stranger to challenges, but this hike was to be his final. No amount of preparation is ever enough for the unknown. Well, the area in question also borders heavily restricted U.S. military lands, including Nellis Air Force Base and portions of the sprawling Nevada Test and Training Range, which covers approximately 2.9 million acres. This proximity has fueled decades of rumors about secret operations, hidden facilities, and unexplained phenomena, especially regarding nearby Area 51. 51 located roughly 100 miles away. While Kenny Veach had hiked in this region before, this trip had a specific and personal goal. In a comment posted months earlier under a video titled "Son of an Area 51 Technician," Veach described an earlier encounter with a cave shaped like a capital M. He wrote that as he approached the cave's entrance, his entire body began to vibrate uncontrollably. The sensation frightened him so deeply that he turned around and vowed to return later, better prepared and with a camera. True to his word, Veach attempted a second hike to locate the M Cave and filmed his journey. He posted the footage on YouTube in a video titled M Cave Hike, uploaded on October 18, 2014. In that video, he explored the canyons near the Sheep Range but failed to locate the mysterious cave. Still, he remained convinced of its existence and mentioned his intention to try again. On November 10th, just over 3 weeks later, he left for his third and final attempt. According to his girlfriend and family, Kenny told them about his plans to search for the cave again, specifying the general area he would be exploring. However, despite his hiking experience, Veach made a critical and ultimately fateful decision. He did not carry a GPS device, satellite phone, or any kind of emergency locator. He also did not bring a video camera, which struck many of his online followers as unusual. The desert terrain Veach was entering is not only remote, but also dangerous, especially for solo travelers. Temperatures in the Mojave Desert can fluctuate dramatically between day and night, often dropping below freezing during November. The arid environment offers limited water sources, and the risk of dehydration or injury from a fall is ever present. Cell phone reception is also often non-existent in the deeper canyons and valleys of the Sheep Mountains. Kenny was carrying only minimal gear and had no overnight equipment, making his hike a high-risk venture from the outset. When Veach failed to return home or contact his family within a reasonable time frame, concern quickly escalated. His girlfriend and relatives reported him missing, prompting an official search and rescue operation. Teams from the Red Rock Search and Rescue Group, along with Bureau of Land Management officers and volunteers, began combing the area. Save for his cell phone, no other trace of him, no backpack, clothing, or remains was ever found. Veach had disappeared in thin air. To this day, Kenny Veach remains officially missing. Before putting the facts about our case together, let's get some background first. Who was Kenny Veach? Born in 1967, Kenny Lee Veach was a Las Vegas native who lived most of his adult life in Nevada, where he became intimately familiar with the unforgiving desert landscapes that stretch across the state. He was not a professional explorer or scientist, but his knowledge of terrain, survival skills, and willingness to venture deep into unmarked and treacherous areas set him apart from the average hiking enthusiast. By the time of his disappearance in 2014, he had carved out a niche identity as an experienced outdoorsman, particularly known for venturing into areas around the Nevada Test and Training Range, some of the most restricted and desolate regions in the continental United States. A major part of Veach's presence came through his YouTube channel, which he operated under the username SnakeBitMG. The channel featured videos of his hikes, gear reviews, and occasional commentary on his discoveries in the wild. Although not a large-scale influencer by today's standards, Veach had begun to attract attention in online communities that focused on mysterious places, lost mines, and secret military installations in the American Southwest. His videos showcased long treks into rough terrain, where he documented not only the beauty of the desert, but also the eerie silence and isolation that often came with it. He frequently hiked alone, carrying minimal gear, and he often dismissed the use of modern navigation tools like GPS or personal locator beacons. Instead, he relied on memory, landmarks, and what he described as a gut sense of direction. Veach's chosen exploration zones were anything but ordinary. He frequently hiked near the boundaries of the Nevada Test and Training Range, or NTTR, an area spanning approximately 2.9 million acres that includes parts of Nellis Air Force Base and borders the infamous Area 51. The NTTR is the largest contiguous air and ground space available for peacetime military operations in the free world, and much of it is closed off to civilians. This region has long been a subject of speculation due to its use for nuclear testing, classified aircraft trials, and rumored UFO sightings. For Kenny, however, it was a place of intense natural allure, filled with ancient rock formations, forgotten mines, and little-traveled paths. Friends and family acknowledged that Kenny had always preferred solitude. He was described by those close to him as intelligent, adventurous, and deeply independent. One of the key elements that drew wider internet interest to Veach's story was his claim of discovering a strange cave during one of his hikes, a cave shaped like an uppercase M. In the comments section of a YouTube video titled "Son of an Area 51 Technician," Veach described finding the cave somewhere near Nellis Air Force Base and the Sheep Mountains. He said that as he approached its entrance, his body began to vibrate uncontrollably, and an intense sense of dread overtook him. Frightened, he turned back and left the area, but later vowed to return with a camera and better equipment. His story attracted dozens of responses urging him to revisit the site and document it for his viewers. Veach obliged, uploading a video titled M Cave Hike on October 18, 2014, in which he searched for the mysterious cave but was unable to find it again. This video would be the last time his viewers saw him. So, what was this cave that he was after? The M Cave claim. Shortly before his disappearance, Veach claimed that during one of his treks through a remote section of the Nevada desert, he had encountered a cave unlike any he had seen before, one shaped like a perfect capital letter M. This unusual cave, he said, was located somewhere near Nellis Air Force Base, possibly within or close to the borders of the Nevada Test and Training Range, an area heavily monitored and restricted due to its use for military testing. Veach detailed an eerie and deeply unsettling experience upon nearing the entrance of this M-shaped cave. As he approached the cave, he began to feel an intense vibration throughout his body, something he described as unlike anything he had ever experienced. The closer he got to the opening, the more overwhelming the sensation became. It wasn't merely a subtle tremor or a sense of unease. He claimed that the vibrations grew so powerful and alarming that they induced a physical reaction, forcing him to retreat. Veach insisted he was not prone to fear, especially after years of hiking in isolation through rugged and wild terrain. But this particular sensation compelled him to leave. His story might have been easily dismissed as fantasy had it not tapped into a long-standing pattern of strange reports from the same general region. The deserts of southern Nevada, particularly areas bordering restricted military zones like NTTR and the Nevada National Security Site, have a history of unusual and often undocumented geological formations, unexplained electromagnetic anomalies, and military secrecy that fuels speculation. Hikers and explorers over the years have sporadically reported caves that seem to hum or cause physical sensations like disorientation, nausea, or an odd pulsing in the chest. While these claims are difficult to verify, some have gained traction. For example, in the 1990s, a group of geologists working near Yucca Mountain, about 100 miles northwest of Las Vegas, noted elevated magnetic field readings in some areas due to magnetite-rich basalt formations. In another example, in 1976, an amateur explorer named Thomas Newman filed a report with local BLM rangers after claiming he had discovered a low-frequency humming emanating from a narrow vertical cave in the mountains near Indian Springs, not far from the perimeter of Creech Air Force Base. His report mentioned feelings of vertigo and a strange sensation of pressure in the ears. But when a follow-up inspection was made weeks later, the team was unable to locate the cave or replicate the conditions. Some theorists also point to the mysterious Devil's Hole, a geothermal water-filled cavern in Death Valley National Park, which has been associated with tremors and anomalous temperature shifts, though these phenomena are mostly explained by its position above a seismically active fault. What sets Kenny Veach's claim apart is how seriously he seemed to take it himself. Unlike others who tell bizarre tales and vanish into internet obscurity, Veach returned to the desert multiple times to find the cave again, documenting his journeys on his YouTube channel. In one video, titled M Cave Hike, he attempted to retrace his steps, but failed to find the cave. That failure did not deter him. He promised viewers and himself that he would return again, this time with the intent to go further, to explore the cave regardless of the strange physical effects. It was a promise he would never fulfill, at least not publicly. Discovery of his cell phone. Shortly after Kenny Veach was reported missing, his cell phone was found abandoned on the ground near the entrance to the Saratoga Mine, an old and long-defunct mine shaft situated in the Sheep Mountain Range of southern Nevada. This discovery confirmed that Kenny had made it at least part of the way into the desert region where he had intended to search again for the mysterious M Cave. The mine is located within the Desert National Wildlife Refuge, about 45 miles north of Las Vegas, in a rugged, remote area near the boundaries of the Nellis Air Force Base and the Nevada Test and Training Range. The cell phone, a critical clue, was located by members of the search and rescue teams who were working with local authorities. It was found resting on the ground with no signs of struggle, damage, or indication of foul play. According to records from the Red Rock Search and Rescue Group, the location was quickly logged and the device was taken in as evidence. Despite the harsh desert terrain and limited visibility in the area due to uneven rock formations and brush cover, the phone's intact condition suggested it had been placed or dropped deliberately rather than lost. It also ruled out the possibility that Veach had become disoriented miles away from his planned route. Instead, it was clear that he had indeed reached the very location he mentioned in his final YouTube video, an area close to the Saratoga mine entrance. However, no other trace of Kenny Veach was uncovered in the immediate vicinity. His backpack, water bottles, snakebite kit, and other hiking essentials were missing. There were no signs of a campsite, clothing, boot prints, or any discarded supplies that could have offered insight into which direction he might have gone after leaving his phone. This left searchers and investigators puzzled. The desert around the mine was vast and unforgiving, stretching for miles with temperatures that can fluctuate drastically, from below freezing at night in November to nearly 80 degrees Fahrenheit during the day. It was terrain that demanded preparation, yet Kenny had chosen to hike without GPS, emergency beacons, or even a partner. Clark County authorities worked alongside the Red Rock Search and Rescue Team, whose volunteers included experienced desert trackers and former military personnel. They combed through the immediate area around Saratoga Mine and expanded their search grid outward, using both foot patrols and helicopters equipped with infrared cameras. Despite several days of intensive searching, no additional evidence was found. Volunteers from the online community, particularly fans of Veach's YouTube channel, began conducting their own search missions, using coordinates from Kenny's past videos to estimate possible routes he might have taken. Maps, satellite imagery, and elevation data from USGS topographic charts were all used to guide independent searches, but none yielded results. That is not to say that the search efforts were not extensive. A large-scale search and rescue effort was launched involving multiple parties, including professional responders, Kenny's family, and several volunteers from both the local community and online followers. These efforts spanned weeks and continued sporadically for months as hope lingered that Kenny might still be found alive, or that at least some clue beyond his recovered cell phone near the Saratoga mine might surface. The desert terrain around the Sheep Mountains, part of the Desert National Wildlife Refuge north of Las Vegas, posed a significant challenge. The area, which spans over 1.6 million acres, is the largest wildlife refuge outside of Alaska and includes rough mountainous terrain, abandoned mine shafts, and limited marked trails. Initially, the formal search was conducted by local authorities with the assistance of Red Rock Search and Rescue, a Las Vegas-based volunteer group known for its expertise in desert terrain. Red Rock was equipped with trained personnel and canine units specialized in detecting human remains in rugged environments. The early efforts concentrated on the area surrounding the Saratoga mine. This was where Kenny's cell phone had been found. Ground teams carefully combed the landscape, checking old trails, dry washes, caves, and abandoned mine shafts that dot the region. The extreme remoteness and lack of cell coverage made these efforts particularly grueling. According to Red Rock SAR reports, temperatures at the time fluctuated drastically between day and night, dropping to near freezing in the evenings and rising to over 70 degrees Fahrenheit during the day. This could have severely impaired an unprepared hiker. Aerial search methods were also employed during the first wave of operations. Helicopters from local law enforcement flew over the region using infrared thermal imaging cameras to scan for body heat signatures, although these efforts were hampered by the ruggedness of the terrain, which created multiple shadowed areas that limited visibility. At the same time, small aerial drones were deployed by volunteers and hobbyists from the online community who had followed Kenny's YouTube channel. Digital elevation models and satellite imagery were also used to generate potential hiking paths Kenny could have taken, based on known landmarks he referenced in past videos. Many volunteers organized independently or through forums like Reddit and YouTube comment sections. Several fans of Kenny's channel personally hiked out to the Sheep Mountains using public coordinates and visual cues from his M-Cave hike video uploaded on October 18, 2014. Among these were YouTube user Heavy D Sparks and other hikers who documented their expeditions in search of the M-shaped cave that Kenny had described encountering months earlier. These expeditions included revisits to the exact location where Kenny had shot his last video and to other caves and canyons in the nearby range. In one such effort, volunteer hiker Mike Murray joined with others to search various side canyons and GPS-tagged zones within a 5-mile radius of the mine. Yet, these searches similarly turned up no trace of Kenny's body or belongings. The sheer number of mine shafts in the region complicated matters. According to the Nevada Bureau of Mines and Geology, there are over 200,000 abandoned mine features in the state of Nevada, with thousands of them located in Clark County alone. Many of these shafts are undocumented or too unstable to enter safely, presenting a potentially infinite number of places where someone could fall, hide, or become trapped. Red Rock Search and Rescue was only able to enter a limited number of shafts due to safety concerns, and several caves were deemed too dangerous for non-professionals to investigate thoroughly. Even so, experienced cave explorers and desert hikers continued to visit the area over the following months and years, hoping for any sign, be it clothing, bone fragments, or a boot print. But nothing was ever located. Kenny's family was actively involved in the early stages of the search. His girlfriend, Sherion Pilgrim, publicly confirmed that Kenny had not taken a GPS device, satellite phone, or personal locator beacon. Sherion was also the one who filed the missing person report after Kenny failed to return from his trip. She and other relatives visited the search zones and assisted law enforcement in compiling possible routes Kenny might have used. Over time, as the searches came up empty. But wait, our story does not end here. Statement from Kenny's girlfriend. Following Kenny Veach's disappearance, his longtime girlfriend, Sherion Pilgrim, revealed that Kenny had suffered from long-term depression. She explained that while he often presented as upbeat and adventurous in front of the camera, in private, he had battled inner turmoil for years. She noted that his emotional struggles were deep-seated and had not been alleviated by the lifestyle he pursued. In fact, a year before his disappearance, Kenny had quit his job without securing another source of stable income. The decision to leave his job was seen by friends and family as part of a growing detachment from conventional life responsibilities. And while Kenny didn't seem financially desperate, his choice left him increasingly isolated. According to Sherion, Kenny had refused both therapy and psychiatric medication despite her repeated encouragement. She stated clearly in her post that he believed he could manage his depression on his own, often insisting that he didn't want to become chemically altered or rely on what he described as artificial means to change his mind. His preference for extreme solitude, especially in the vast deserts of southern Nevada, was partly a coping mechanism. He had told her more than once that these excursions into nature, often lasting several hours and covering many miles, were the only things that gave him peace. Yet these same solo hikes, without GPS, emergency gear, or even basic communication tools, worried those close to him. Perhaps the most controversial element of Sherion's message was her acknowledgement that she believed Kenny may have intentionally unalived himself. She emphasized that while she could not say for certain, the signs pointed toward this possibility. One telling detail, she explained, was that he did not bring his video camera with him on his final hike on November 10, 2014. This was uncharacteristic for Kenny, who typically documented his desert hikes extensively and had done so in his October 2014 M-Cave hike video, which received thousands of views. For him to venture out with no filming equipment, especially on a journey where he claimed he would try to rediscover the mysterious M-Cave, strongly suggested to her that he never intended to return or record what he found. Sherion also speculated that Kenny may have intentionally left the phone behind to prevent being tracked via GPS. No call history, text messages, or metadata from the phone provided any additional clues. The Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department did not disclose any significant findings from the phone's contents. Her final note in the message was a plea to the online community to consider the human side of Kenny's disappearance, reminding readers that behind every mystery are real people affected by loss. She asked for respect for Kenny's memory and discouraged speculative comments that reduced his disappearance to internet entertainment. Now, let's piece it all together. Well, that's it for now. Thanks for watching. Did you like this video? If you did, please consider liking, dropping a comment, and hitting the subscribe button so that you don't miss out on our new uploads. Also, don't miss this video you see on your screen right now. It's truly unbelievable.